Hello, folks. I'm Jim Witt. I'm a volunteer with the AARP Nebraska and a member of the West Omaha Community Action Team. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to Nebraska's Facebook Live presentation on downsizing and rightsizing through the next seasons of your life. I am pleased to introduce our speaker today, Diane Sullivan. She has been a professional organizer since 2003 and is the owner of the organization Station. She is an author of Myth or Reality, Weekends Free, and Outrageously Organized. She also is a volunteer with our AARP group in Omaha. Her many years of experience make her a perfect candidate to speak to us on this subject today. Diane, take it away.
Thank you very much. All right, I am going to start with this is the downsizing, rightsizing through the season of your life. And first of all, I'm going to talk to you about options for housing in later in life. It's just, we want to get your brain thinking about why you might even want to think about doing this. So some of the options for housing later in life would be that you could stay in your own home, you could live by, or with family. You could move into an over 55 community, and I'll tell you what, they are not your grandma's old folks home anymore. I've organized many people in them, and they have a movie theater, a bar, a library, exercise room, swimming pool. They have speakers come in, they have potlucks, they do all kinds of things, and they're beautiful places. And so some people don't even know those things exist, which they're very nice. Another thing you could do is moving into a facility that could accommodate your needs throughout the remainder of your life. They have some places that start as apartments and then go to assisted living, and the other, it's just, those are some options that you could look at and think about. Now, make sure that you are the one who are making these important decisions about your space and your belonging. You don't want to have to get to the point where you're leaving those decisions to somebody else to make. That is the biggest reason why you even need to think about rightsizing or downsizing. Now, factors that can guide your reasons to downsize is you've outgrown things. You get tired of collecting. You had fun while you were finding those treasures, but it just doesn't appeal to you anymore. I used to collect glass things, glass vases and bowls and home decor. And after a couple of years, I decided that I really wanted to do wood things now. So I packed up all the glass things, found a consignment store that would take them, and then they were all gone out of my house. I loved them while I was into them, but then when they were gone, I wasn't packing them away and just storing them. It was get them out of the house then. Another one is your children have moved out, but they've left their room the same as it was, and they've left all their stuff behind. Now, I want to tell you, they left their stuff behind for a reason. They don't want it. A thing to think about is that talk to your kids. Say, come here, look at these things. If you want anything, take them. If not, they're gone. Most of the time, they will just say, I don't even need to look at it because I don't need any of it. So don't keep it just because you think they want it. They've moved on, and that stuff can move on also. Now, you have emotionally moved on past certain items, like memorabilia, or you've inherited items that you've had from, your mom and dad's things and other relatives, and you have photos that you don't even know who the people are in them. It's time to get rid of those things. Now, especially furniture. We live in Nebraska and we have all 4 seasons. And you wouldn't believe how many people I've organized that their total garages are full of their parents' furniture. They did not want you to keep all their stuff. They want you to be in the garage in the winter with your car warm. So, and you don't want to have your stuff all go to your kids to live in their garages. So take what you love of it, use it. If you don't use it, let it go. Another thing to think about is that it brought back a past memory. You could take a picture of the item and not have to keep the item, but the picture will remind you. And then there's always those items that you've bought with something to do in the future. You thought you were going to do a craft, a new hobby, equipment to lose weight. There's a multitude of reasons we buy things of things we think we're going to use. You just have to let go of the coulda, woulda, shouldas. Because if you hadn't done it when you bought it, you're not going to do it now. So let those things go. Open up some space. Now your kids have moved out and you're wondering, and you find yourself wondering, why do I need this much space? A lot of people have bigger homes because they've raised a whole family in it. Sometimes you just don't need that much space. Or you want to travel more and you want to stay home with your stuff less. Now, this one I believe is the most important reason to start downsizing. The feeling of empty rooms, empty walls, empty space, and just that feeling of space. I know this happened to me. We were having our kitchen and our living room painted. So with that, I moved everything out of the kitchen and the living room. And when they were done painting, I started thinking about, what do I really want to go back in there? And it really ended up less than half, because pictures had been hanging on the wall for years, and pretty soon you don't even notice them anymore. Or you just had all these chairs and tables and everything in your living room. Well, pretty soon you just decide you need 2 chairs and a couch. And that room and that space is just amazing, to feel that open space. So, does your home just feel too big? Are you using all of it? Is yard work becoming more of a chore than a pleasant time? Has gardening become a dreaded experience now? You used to have great time doing it, but you don't anymore. Do you use all the floors in your room? Or do you just live in a few rooms? I know since our boys moved away, we don't use that room anymore. And is it that you might not want to do stairs anymore? Is it harder to keep up with the house cleaning duties? And you don't entertain as much as you used to. So why have a separate dining room with all those special dishes and glassware? You know, once you've stopped having the big family dinners and things like that, let those platters go to the kids that are having them now. Or if they don't want them, just get them out of your house. Now, could there be an upsize to downsizing? There is less stuff to clean. There's less decisions to be made. There's less furniture, means less opportunities to fall. And really, as you get older, you really want to think about your open spaces. No rugs, no stairs, and you'll have more time and energy to go out and have fun. You know, you just don't want to be bogged down in your house with all your stuff. You will have more money by not buying more stuff and getting rid of all the excess, because I would never tell you to just donate everything. There's pieces that you can sell, and now you're doing it at your own time so that you can do that. And less stress, because less stuff equals less of that overwhelmed feeling. I've talked to a lot of people and had a lot of clients that just say, I just don't know where to start because it's all so much. You can only keep what you love, use, and what is functional. and all the rest of it can go. Sometimes that's just like you've done your bathroom and you had the shower curtain and you've had the matching things and the towels and everything that went with it. And then you changed it. Well, there's no use packing up and keeping the other. You're never going to go back and put that same stuff back up. So those are kind of things to feel like, is it something you love? Well, you loved it, but you don't love it anymore. And no more keeping up with the Joneses. I know some people do, some people don't. But usually by this age, you kind of just decided you don't really need to keep up with anybody. You're your own person. Now you can sell your old stuff and buy new items that fit the space with the money you've earned. And sometimes that's meaning that if you do decide to downsize to a different place, you don't need to take with you the big couch that's going into a littler space. It's sell the couch and sell those things, and then you will have money to buy new things that will fit exactly into the new place. Now, your kids will visit more often when they know they don't have to fix everything around the house. And they'll enjoy your visits more, and you will have no guilt about, oh, Johnny, can you come over? I need this light bulb changed, or I need this. It's sometimes you just want your kids to come over and they just want to come over and visit. Excuse me. Now, is there a right age to downsize? Now, there's the saying that it's never too late, but in fact, it is too late when you're in poor health or your body or mind is not up to the task. And with downsizing, it is a process and it's a journey. And it's doing just a little bit at a time. So the sooner that you start to just go through the excess, the better you will feel and the more time you could take your time with it. Now, reasons to start downsizing. You'll never believe it, but there are over 350,000 items in a normal home. That is a lot of stuff. Now, you get to make the decisions at your pace and timeline. You're not rushed. And your body can only do so much at one time. And you may get tired before the job is done. So I'm going to be telling you to do one drawer at a time, one little space at a time. Now, as a professional organizer, I personally only work for 2 hours at a session. Once in a while, I'll do 3 hours. But the clients, their eyes are just glazed over from making so many decisions. And so I would never say, today I'm going to organize for the whole day, because it won't happen. Even people that are very young, it's hard for them to make all those decisions. Now, you control the project, and that's very important. I mean, you could say, I'm going to do one drawer, and then if I feel good, I'm going to do another drawer, or I'm going to set a timer for half an hour. You never want to tear it all apart and have to come back and do it again. And your family is going to love you for not leaving a full house. Now, you may fall in love with your home again and decide that you don't want to move anytime soon. You will save money by selling items of value at your own convenience. We talked about this, and it's really true. And nowadays, there is so many ways to sell things of value. And I've put in a link to resources of where you can take different things and how to get rid of different things. But it's at your convenience, and that's what it's all about. Now, let the kids tell you what they want of yours, and don't wait until you pass away to give heirlooms to your family and friends. Have your kids come over and tell you what they want and let them take it. It might not be the chair that you sit on right now, but there's usually what your children want are just odd things that you don't even think about that brings back a memory in their childhood. So don't wait, give it now. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed. What I really want you to do, and this is the step-by-step guide of how we're going to organize, okay? We're going to do one drawer at a time. If you have more energy, you do another. You do one cabinet at a time. You do one room at a time, but it might take you 6 different times in that room to get it done. Don't tear a whole room apart because you'll feel overwhelmed and quit, and you'll still have a huge project to finish. And what I mean by that is, like, when I'm organizing with a client, we do one drawer at a time. And we know how much time we have for that day. So then in the last 20 minutes of what we're going to do, we're actually putting things back. And be ruthless about why you're keeping every single item. And what I hear a lot is that, well, that cost me a lot of money. I don't want to get rid of that. You bought it, you used it, you loved it, but the money you'll never get back out what you put into it. And so get that money part out of your head. You can definitely sell the item, but just to keep it because it cost you money is not a good enough reason. I'm going to touch each room of the house of an average home, and I'm going to give you ideas about items to consider downsizing and just how to do it. So this is the really nuts and bolts of organizing, okay? First of all, I want you to get 4 boxes, or I like to use laundry baskets because they have handles on them. One is going to be for donate. One is going to be for sell. One is going to be for it lives someplace else in the house. And then one is for trash. Things that just are broken or nobody, even the Goodwill, would not want them. And you're going to take those 4 boxes and you're going to go into that room. And the first room I'm talking about is the kitchen. And here are some things that are easily downsized. Coffee mugs. People have so many coffee mugs. And do you really think that you're going to have 13 people over at your house to drink coffee at the same time and you're going to give them all these mix match cups? You're just not going to. And how often do you wash the dishes? You don't need to keep 13 cups. And a lot of times the people who use their cups, it's on the kitchen counter because they use them every day. And you don't want to stuff them back up in the into the counter. So coffee mugs is a big one to think about. Pots and pans. Just because you have a set of pots and pans does not mean you need to keep the whole set or keep it together. Now, what I have found for myself is that I have the best drawer in the house. It's not too high, it's not too low. It pulls out for me. And what I keep is a large skillet and a small skillet, a large saucepan and a small saucepan, 4 nesting mixing bowls, a big measuring cup, a little measuring cup, and measuring spoons. And I have found that 85 to 90% of the time, I only use what's in that perfect drawer. And so do you need 8 skillets? No. How about casserole dishes? No. Keep a big one, a small one, let the rest go. Storage containers. They multiply like bunnies. I don't know how it happens, but how many do you really need? How many leftovers are you going to put in the refrigerator before you eat it and put it back? And my biggest suggestion for storage container is either to get rectangle or square or round and get the kind that nest into each other and use only those. Now you have outdated food. A lot of times in the back of cupboards is all the food that's outdated. And so get it out and leave those places just empty. It is human nature for people to want to fill every space. But when you have space, you would not believe how great it feels. Now, utensils and kitchen gadgets. My husband does all the cooking in our house. And so I buy him gadgets at the Goodwill in different places because I think it'll help him and it's fun to see a new gadget. So what I did was I took every single gadget and put it out on the living room floor and said, what do you use and what don't you use? And we got rid of about 80% of it. And the other thing to do is to take your utensils, scrapers, uh, spatulas, all those things, and your gadgets, and put them all out of your drawers and put them in a box and stick them in the back bedroom. Now, every time you use something, that you take it out of the box and you get to put it back into the drawer. After 6 months, if you have not used those things in that box, just let the whole box go. You may find you don't need that avocado slicer or that juicer or whatever it may be. Or how many spatulas do you really need? I mean, some people have 20 or 30 in their drawers and you're like, 2, a big one and a little one, work just as well. Another thing to think about is the bathroom. Now, we all have lotions and potions, and we've all spent good money on them. And somebody has told us this would work just great, and it's not for you. Let them go. I know they cost you money, but let them go. And there's women's shelters that would love to have them. Old makeup. People keep a lot of makeup. And after a while, 6 months, it's not good anymore. So just empty it out. And sometimes it's just that 5 minutes to take it and empty it out, and you're done. Towels. How many people keep too many towels? You know, it's how many you're going to use before you take a shower and go back. You know, maybe you need 4 or 5, but people tend to have a lot of towels. Now, medicines. Keep the ones you use, but get rid of the excess and the old ones and expired ones. And your pharmacy normally will take them back. And the thing in the bathroom that's really good to do is to contain everything. You know, go to the dollar store and get a pretty decorative box or a shoebox from Walmart, you know, whatever it may be. But you want to contain each kind of thing so you could just pull it out and use it when you need it. And it's just not all, it's just easier to access. And another thing is hair supplies. You know, you might have had long hair and you might have short hair now. How many curling irons and straight irons and blow dryers do you need? People tend to get a new one and keep the old ones. We don't want to do that anymore. Let's move on to the linen closet. Sheets, you really only need 1 extra set of sheets because normally you would put them, wash them, put them back on the bed. And extra blankets for company, just put them on your spare bed and then put your comforter over it. That way you're not taking up the best space in the linen closet. Again, with medicine. And there's a lot of other items that are just shoved in there. And so go through, see what they are, contain them, and then let go of the things that you didn't even know were in there. Because when it comes time again, you're not going to know they're in there. Let's move on to the master bedroom. Now, here I have some tips and tricks for you. With your clothes, you wear 20% of your clothes 80% of the time. And that is very true. And you might be in the stage of your life where you have retired from work. Give those work clothes to people who could need them. Women's shelters, the YMCA, the Dress for Success. Now, how many socks does one person need? Shoes. You know, go through. I'm actually a shoe person and a purse person. And so I like my shoes, but I've made room for the shoes. And a trick that I'm going to tell you with everything is do the 1 in and 1 out trick. And what that is say you have your shoes just the way you like them. Okay, before you buy the next pair of shoes, what shoes are leaving in order for you to buy the next pair of shoes? That way, it always stays the same, but you've thought of before you buy something what's leaving. And with clothes, I have a great tip. Put all your hangers backwards in your closet. Then, as you wear your clothes, wash them and you hang them the right way. At the end of the season, only go through the hangers that are backwards and figure out why you didn't wear those outfits. You know, is it that it's the great color, but the arms doesn't fit right? Is it that it was too stuck together close to something else and you just have everything packed in there? And you only have to make the decisions on those clothes. So that's one of my best tips. Now, another thing is jewelry. You know, you have different phases in your life where you wear different kinds of jewelry. And only keep the jewelry that you're going to wear now and let the rest of it go. You can sell it, you can donate it, you can give it to kids, you can give it to your friends. You know, just get it out of your house. And books is another one. How many books do you really need? Now, you can have a bookcase, you can have a wall, you can have a room of books. But what else isn't fitting because you have those books? And a lot of times people have had their books for so long that they don't even notice them anymore. And some people say, but I spent money on them and I like to reread them. And then you really ask them, when's the last time you reread a book on this shelf? 99% of the time said, well, I'm gonna, but it doesn't really ever happen. Spare bedroom. I want you to go through everything because it's usually overflow from other rooms. Some people put clothes in their closet. Some people have boxes with everything in it. And if it's a spare bedroom and you don't use it, you could close it off and get rid of it. You know, just have it be, it's just a lot of overflow. So I want you to go through every single thing in those rooms. Let's talk about the living room. Furniture. People tend to have way too much furniture, knickknacks, books. A tip for magazines is you want it to contain it, whether it's a basket, a magazine rack, a box, whatever it may be. You put your magazines in there, and whenever you put one in, one has to come out. Whether you've read it, whether you thought you were going to get to it and you didn't, because you've made a spot and that's the only place that they're going to go and that's the only place they're going to fit. So it's the same thing with the one in and one out. Pictures on the wall. You know, it's just that they just tend to blend in to the background. After a while, think about each and every one of them and know that you'll enjoy open space. Let's go to the dining room next. And a lot of people, their dining rooms are really packed. Now, you might have a hutch and a buffet. You have things in every drawer, tablecloths and napkins. How many do you need? How often do you really use them? If you want to use cloth napkins, get rid of your other napkins and use those. A lot of people have extra furniture just shoved into your dining room. You want to make it, just think about every single piece, why you're using it, what's in it. If you used to give dinner parties and you don't anymore, get rid of the glassware, get rid of the gravy bowls, get rid of the things you don't use anymore. And there's many ways to get rid of things. The laundry room, how many cleaning supplies do you need? I am a big proponent of having different cleaning supplies for different levels of your house. But a lot of times your laundry room becomes the catch-all for miscellaneous items that don't have a home. And if they don't have a home, you're not going to know where to look for those things that you've shoved into the cabinets. So go through and be ruthless. Now, the storage room, I would need you to go through every single box because most of the time, things have been in there for 25 years that you've never looked at again. Decorations is one. You know, you might have, when the kids were little, you decorated for every holiday and you really did up Christmas. And since they're gone, or, you know, you might be doing less, or you might pick one that you like. But for me, for an example, I love Christmas and I had 3 huge Rubbermaids full of Christmas things. Well, pretty soon after my boy left, it was like I'd bring all 3 up, but half the time I'd leave half the stuff in them, but I wouldn't make a decision at that time. I'd go, oh, I'll do it next year. Oh, I'll do it next year. Well, finally, this last year, I said, okay, we're going to go through this stuff. And we went from 3 big ones to 1. And it was okay to let those things go. It was just making that decision to do it. The other thing is memorabilia. A lot of times you've kept a lot for your own memorabilia and you've kept things for all your kids. Let your memorabilia for the kids go to the kids. And they can decide what they want to keep and what they don't want to keep. And for yourself, I was a big proponent of keeping things. And finally, about 2 years ago, I went through it and I couldn't believe the stuff that was in there. I mean, it was, you know, when a bunch of people get married right after high school and you've got their wedding invitation and their matchbook and concerts you've went to and vacations you went on, but you don't really even remember the people anymore. I went from 4 boxes down to 1 and I had a great time going through it. But now I kept the things that I really think my son might like, or that I just want to go through again later on and look at the memorabilia. One I didn't write down, but I want to talk to you about is storage units. Just let them be gone. You have spent month after month paying for a storage unit that you've paid many times over the worth of what's in it, and you're not using it. So when you're not using it, let it go. You might have gone from a bigger house to a smaller house. You need to make those decisions and just get rid of it. There's nothing that you should need to keep except if it's like a classic car or something, but otherwise, storage units are just wasted space. Let's go on to the garage. Tools. How many do you use? But it's so hard to go through them. And you've inherited a lot of them. Gadgets that you use, but you don't use anymore. Expired items, you know, all those potions and chemicals and all those things you've used in the past. See if they're expired and let them go. Broken items. We always seem like we're going to fix things, but it tends to you either do or you don't right at that time. Don't keep those items. And boxes, our garage was our only storage place. And I thought being the organizer, I was so good. I had categorized everything and I had put it in boxes and I had like 12 Rubbermaids, all labeled. They were beautiful. But after 5 years, I went, what's really in these? Well, we had remodeled some had electrical supplies, plumbing supplies. We don't do those things, but I had saved them for some reason. And then there were just things that we didn't use because they were boxed up. And so it's like, well, if I haven't used it, I don't need it. And by the time I got done with my 12 boxes, I'd kept 3. So just because you have the room doesn't mean you need it. And I felt so good when those things were gone. Now, I want to tell you that I guarantee that you would say, I should have done this a long time ago. And this, I want you to go now. And I want you to just start 1 drawer at a time. And remember, this is a process and this is a journey, and make it fun. As you're going through your things, laugh, call up your friend. Remember this? Remember when we did this? It doesn't have to be a chore. And remember doing it in small increments. That's the best thing I can tell you. But this isn't rocket science. It's just really being brutal and going through your things. And thank you so much. Is there any questions?
I have a few that I've jotted down here, Diane. First of all, you said there were the sites there with links where we can go to sell stuff. Is there one site or one or two sites in particular that you would recommend more than others?
Well, what I truly like is that if you're in a town that has a consignment store,
Okay.
I really think that is a great idea because they will take it and take a certain percentage, but they already have a built-in clientele. I think Facebook Marketplace is a great one. Craigslist is a great one. And when you're selling things to somebody else, a lot of police stations have spaces in front of their police station to do exchanges. And so that way it makes it very safe instead of just meeting in a parking lot somewhere. And you can even go in and say, I'm meeting this person. And so it just makes it a whole lot safer. And a lot of people don't know that. Women's shelters is a great place for a lot of different things. Antiques, you could even have a living estate sale. If you decide you're going to move to a different place, take what you want and then have somebody come in and take care of all the rest. There's Craigslist. There's like for clothes, there's ThreadUp where they send you a label, you put all your clothes in the package and they sell them for you.
Okay.
There's just a lot of different resources I put on that page and what they take, veterans homes for your books. Just different things to get your mind going about where you can take different things.
Thanks. Those are some really good tips there. Thank you. Several of those I'm familiar with, but I didn't realize that the police station might be a great place to meet.
It is, because when you're older, you really don't want to, you want to have that safety.
Sure. In a town where I lived before, I have seen people do it in front of the church, but that was also right across the street from the sheriff's office. So
there you go.
a safe place to be. This one, none of us want to admit that we're a hoarder. But if you are a hoarder or you live with a hoarder, do you have some advice on working with those folk?
A lot of times in a hoarder situation, it's different because they have emotional reasons to keep everything. Like they probably have had some trauma in their life. And for an actual hoarder, it's good to work with a psychiatrist and an organizer to really find out the reason and help them. Because if you just take the things away from a hoarder, they'll just put other things back.
Right. Okay. Thank you. What's the biggest mistake you've seen people use when they're trying to downsize?
I think the biggest mistake is that there is so many reasons in your head not to get rid of it.
Okay.
You have some emotional attachment. You think you're going to use it again. You spent money on it. You thought this antique was going to be worth more money and now it's worth nothing. Times change and things change. And if you always want to live within the space you have, not where you've been. And so I think those are the hardest things is that people can really be creative on reasons why they should keep something.
I heard you say or allude to several times, there's nothing wrong with having empty space in your house.
You would not believe how great it feels. Even in this room I'm in right now, there used to be pictures like 10 on the wall. And now I'm down to 2, and it just feels better.
Sure. Not as much craziness to distract your mind.
Well, and it blends in so much that pretty soon you don't even notice.
Sure.
And that's what I want you to do, is to notice everything.
Right. Right. Have a reason for having what you have.
Right.
Let's see. Oh, do you have any suggestions on how to get your kids to take their stuff?
You don't give them an option.
Okay.
You just say, it's time. You set an appointment with them, and either you can deliver it to their house or they can come to your house. But you say, this is in this much time, I'm either going to get rid of it. You've come or you're not coming, and you don't care about anything in there, which I will tell you happens way more than you think it would,
I'm sure.
because they have moved on. Their house is full. And those things don't mean anything to them anymore. A lot of people in their basements have their kids' college textbooks, like they were really going to use them. It's not true. So give them the opportunity, but set a deadline and keep it and mean it.
Good. Good advice. Do you have any other options of where we might donate things? You've named several. Can you think of some others that we might not have thought of? Women's shelters. Do most homeless shelters take things?
Yes, they do. Another thing is, a lot of towns have free cycle, which you can give to them, and then people can take it for free. It's like putting stuff out on your driveway.
In your driveway.
Right? The disabled American veterans come and pick things up at your house, furniture and everything.
Okay.
If you have designer clothes and things like that, there's the Real is a place where you can send them and they'll consign it for you. McCarty is another one that is a site that small appliances, all kinds of things like that.
Okay.
Just really think about what places you would like it. And like in Bellevue in Nebraska, they have a place where they take furniture and everything for veterans that are homeless, and then they get them homes, and then they have all the things to go into their homes.
Great. Great ideas. I don't have too many more, really have any other specific questions. I started out with a number of questions, but you were really thorough, Diane.
Thank you.
Great ideas there. If this is going to be the end of our program, what would be the most important thing we need to remember when we start to downsize or right size our home?
Two things. You want to remember to do just one drawer, one cabinet, one dresser at a time. And then if you feel like you can do more, do more. The second tip is that when you have decided what things are going for that day or that week, get it out of your house.
Okay.
That is the two biggest things. Is a lot of times people get it to their car, but then it's in the car for the next month. So it's really as you go along, and then it's in smaller portions so you're not overwhelmed.
True. Great advice. Well, thank you so much, Diane. I can tell that you've had great experience at this. And I thought I had a good knowledge of the information, but you have really taught me a lot and given me some great ideas. And also, I know where I can go if I have some more questions.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all your work.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.